Hi, thanks for stopping by my channel. I'm Rachel and I'm sharing what my family had for dinner this week.
People are talking me down, beautiful woman. You try to tell me what's right, the road gets longer. You turn all gray into white. Oh.
My sons love Hamburger Helper, but my husband and I aren't big fans of the box stuff. So, to make cost-effective and affordable meals, I have been making more of the Hamburger Helper type pasta dishes on weeknights. They are super easy and the kids like it, so I know that it's going to get eaten without any complaints. So to start off, I am just browning up some ground beef and some onions. I did season with some garlic powder. And then once I get my meat all cooked up, I removed it from the pan. And for this pasta dish, I am just putting a half a block of Velveeta into the pan, and I have to laugh because I really did rip it up with my bare hands. And you know, that makes it a little bit faster, I guess. And so I have my my heat turned down, and I just put some milk in there to help that cheese along with melting. And then once it gets to a little meltier consistency, I added a can of tomato soup to that. And then I just put the meat and onions back in there. I did give my meat a little bit of a rinse with some hot water just because it was super greasy. So just to rinse that off a little bit. This isn't something that I always do, but I did notice that there was a little liquid going back into the pan, and I wanted you guys to know that I did rinse it, and that was what that was. It was not grease. And so I'm just going to mix that all back in. I have some shell pasta on the side boiling while I'm getting this all mixed together, and I'm using some Lipton Secrets soup mix. This is the mushroom and onion flavor. Of course, I am using what I have on hand to make this dish, so you could always change it up any way that you like. I would probably add some sour cream, but I did not have enough, and I knew that I needed some sour cream later on for another meal, so didn't want to use it up, and I wasn't going to go out and buy more. So once my pasta is all cooked up, then I just mixed it in, and this could not be any easier. And my guys were just over the moon for it, of course, because they love Hamburger Helper. But I feel like this tastes so much better, and to get this amount of Hamburger Helper, I would have had to buy a couple boxes of the family size. So I feel like this was a better option as far as cost. And then just to go with it, I'm just heating up some French style green beans, and I added some of the steak and chop seasoning to it. We're eating dinner on our fancy china tonight because why not? Anyway, this was a hit. On the next night, we are just having club sandwiches. I like to throw in a sandwich night every now and then just because it makes my life simpler, and it kind of saves money in the long run because we aren't spending a lot of money on expensive cuts of meat. But I always say, if you're going to have a sandwich for dinner, then have a sandwich for dinner. So these are going to be some really big club sandwiches. So as you saw, I had my bacon all cooked up, and then I got to work making these pieces of toast and getting some mayo on each side until there was enough to make our club sandwiches. I have my tomatoes and my lettuce cut up, and now I am ready to assemble. So I'm starting with one piece of toast with mayo, and then I'm putting the deli turkey down next. Then I am topping that with a piece of lettuce. Now I am the worst at making sandwiches because I am just like all over the place all the time. So anyway, I put my tomatoes on next. I learned from my last sandwiches by putting my tomato on the bottom and I got a soggy piece of bread on the bottom. So I didn't want to do that again. Another piece of bread with the mayo on that down. I could have put more on there, I guess, and probably should have. But anyway, next I did some Black Forest ham, another piece of lettuce, and then I came back in with the bacon. A couple slices there for me. And then next I'm topping that with more tomato. I like a lot of tomatoes, so that's why I'm doing a double layer of those. And then another piece of bread. Now that is a huge, crazy huge sandwich. But this is dinner, and so I don't feel bad. There's lots of vegetables on here. And so I'm just using some toothpicks to hold it in place. And I didn't do a really good job of getting them lined up and getting it cut all nice and pretty, but that's okay. It tasted wonderful. So that's all that mattered to me. Okay, after I got my sandwich constructed, then I started working on my husband's, and there is no way that I would serve up a wimpy sandwich to my husband. So here is his giant club sandwich, and he was totally in love with this thing, I'm telling you. So I worked on getting another sandwich for Cameron made up, and then we just served up our giant club sandwiches for dinner with pickles on the side. For our next easy dinner, we are having breakfast for dinner. It seems like I usually turn toward breakfast for dinner midweek when I have no ambition to cook dinner. So, we are having pancakes. I just was in the mood to have pancakes, and I'm using a basic box mix that all you have to do is add some water. And so then I also dumped in a little bit of cinnamon, not too much. I didn't want it to be overpowering, so just a little dash of cinnamon for our pancakes. And once I got those all mixed up, I just put them in a hot cast iron skillet with some oil. And yes, this does cook them to a crispy state, but you know, this is what we wanted, or what I wanted, and it was my turn to get what I wanted, I guess. So no complaints from the guys. They like their pancakes this way too. But of course, if you're going for a lighter, fluffier pancake, then I would not suggest cooking them this way. Maybe with some cooking spray or whatever. But this is how we made our pancakes that night, and they were just so delicious to us. And so, as you know, making pancakes, you have to do it in batches. I did make a ton of pancakes, of course. So next I had prepped some strawberries over the weekend and put them in my freezer just so that they wouldn't be used for snacks and disappear before I was ready to use them for this breakfast for dinner. I also had picked up some strawberry syrup, and I'm just pouring that in with a dash of regular old maple flavored syrup. And so then I'm just going to give that a stir and let that just kind of cook on the back burner for a while I'm cooking everything else. I was just in the mood for strawberry syrup on my pancakes and just took it a little step further with some diced strawberries added to that syrup. And my pancakes are almost done. I have some scrambled eggs for the guys. Somebody wanted hash, so we made that too. And we just have some smoky links that I basically burnt because that's the way we like them. So when this was all done, I just put some butter on my pancakes and some of that strawberry syrup. And this was just a very delicious, almost like dessert for dinner, I guess. But anyway, I did have some whipped cream, thought about putting it on there, but I controlled myself a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know, I guess maybe I was just craving something sweet, maybe something savory or both, but this just hit the spot. Today I'm getting dinner ready in my little crock pot. I just got my, what I call the little guy, out. And I'm putting my chicken in frozen this morning. It's really early in the day, so I have lots of time. I'm using an oven bag inside my crock pot because once upon a time I bought these when I couldn't find the crock pot liners. And I had read somewhere that these, you can use them in your crock pot. So they fit just fine into my smaller size crock pot. So that's what I'm using today, just to be getting that used up and save my larger ones for when I'm using my larger crock pot. So in my grocery haul video, I showed that I prepped some onions and some peppers. So I'm just adding some onions and then some of these diced up orange bell peppers. I really wanted some green bell peppers, but Walmart substituted these orange ones for the green, so that's what we're going with today. I think that the green would give a more eye-appealing look, and so I'm a little bummed, but not really. That makes any sense. It's all gonna taste good. It's gonna taste the same. So next I'm gonna dump in this packet of taco seasoning. And I have a jar of salsa, and I do have diced tomatoes with green chilies, etc. But I wanted to use up this jar of salsa because we just don't use it that fast, and this is a way to get it used up. This is the medium, what is it, paste, yep. And so that's gonna be it. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of water in here, just a little bit, because the chicken will make some of its own water. And then in a little while I'll add some rice and possibly some cheese, and that's gonna be it for this dish. So all right, I got a little bit of water here in a cup that I'm just gonna dump in there with this chicken. You could always use chicken broth or vegetable broth or whatever you like, but I'm just gonna use some water and call it good. And just gonna put my lid on and forget about it. Let that cook for a couple hours. And later on I'll add some rice and probably some cheese. And I don't know, maybe I'll think about putting a little bit of beans in it. I'm not sure, but that's the good thing about this dish is you can always add whatever you want to it. You could always put a little bit of corn if that's what you like, but for now we're just gonna let it cook in the crock pot and it'll be dinner later. In my attempt to make some simple and easy meals that don't require a lot of meat, I decided to pick up a package of the mini diced ham and some lentils. Very cost effective and filling and satisfying. So I'm using half a bag of the lentils, which I did rinse before adding to the water. I have that whole package of ham, which I'm going to put right in with the lentils while they're cooking so that I can get some of that ham flavor into my water. And then I'm just using some garlic powder and some beer can chicken seasoning. I could have used a bouillon cube or any other seasonings or spices that I wanted, but this is just what I chose to use. I just felt it would be about the same, and that beer can chicken seasoning has like a citrusy element to it that I really like to use in a broth. So next I am just taking a can of carrots and I'm just cutting them up a little smaller. I don't want big slices of carrots. Normally I would use frozen diced carrots. I'm not a fan of fresh raw carrots at all, so I don't usually buy them or keep them on hand, but I do like cooked carrots, and at this time I didn't have any frozen, so I am just using my knife and chopping them up into smaller pieces. And then after my lentils and ham have had a little while to cook in this water and get a little softened, I would say about 20 minutes, then I added a cup of macaroni, elbow macaronis. So if I had used chicken broth, then perhaps my the liquid would be a little lighter. I don't know, but I just kind of label all of my cooking rustic. So here we go. I have all these different sizes of carrots and whatnot. I forgot to add my onions earlier, so I'm doing that now, which is fine. I still have plenty of time to get those onions cooked into this liquid and get that onion flavor in there while my macaronis are getting tender. And so here is the finished product. I'm adding some Parmesan cheese. Sometimes we just drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top as well, but I didn't have any, so no problem. It still tasted delicious, had lots of flavor, and was very satisfying with all the elements of that diced ham and that the pasta that's in there. You got a little bit of a veg going on, and just all the spices give it a nice flavor. This is very satisfying, simple, and cheap. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for coming by. If you had fun here today, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.